taught at the K-12 level as a science teacher and currently a full-time science teacher at Magnolia Science Academy, San Diego, and mentor for science teachers for Magnolia Public Schools in the U.S. She taught high school most of her teaching career in the US since 2005. She started teaching in Barstow High School, but taught in her home country, the Philippines, for 5 years in the elementary grade level. She received her master's degree in teaching, major in general science from the Southwestern University of Philippines in 2012, and her bachelor's degree major in pre-med biology from De La Salle University, Manila, Philippines in 2001. She's currently a doctoral candidate specializing in educational technology at Walden University. She is completing her dissertation um, on the behavior management application in a middle school as part of the school's implementation of the multi-tiered systems of supports using positive behavior interventions and supports, or the PBIS, to reduce student behavior issues. She presents, is at the local K-12 schools and conducts online webinars for K-12 teachers on topics that include the implementation of the next generation science standards, integrating technology tools in classroom teaching and distance education, teaching science using engineering practices, maximizing the use of learning resource platforms, and hybrid and virtual models of instruction. She also involves herself in her full-time position at Magnolia Science Academy San Diego as the school's community outreach and engagement coordinator and running the school's daily live broadcast called The Donut, or the daily online news uncut through streaming, providing daily school announcements, engagements, events, and school community activities both online and in person. And friends, a well-known YouTuber, blogger, an international speaker. Friends, let us all welcome Professor Carla Lopez White.
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Thank you for that very kind introduction, Sir Dari. I guess I don't need to talk about myself and introduce myself, but it's really an honor to be in front of all of you again, my fellow educators there in the Philippines. We just recently completed our school year 2021-2022 here in the US. So we are officially on summer break, but our work isn't done here because I think it's very fitting that we reflect on what has happened in our past school year. And of course, we grow from there. As you know, Sir Dari and friends, it was our full face-to-face instruction for the past school year 21-22, which is why I'm really excited to share my reflections and also recommendations for the hybrid and limited face-to-face that you guys will be embarking on as another journey in your teaching for the next school year 22-23. So without further ado, Sir Dari, if you don't mind, uh, I will share my screen. All right. So let's share the screen. Can you see my screen, sir? Perfect. So we're gonna get to it right away. But some housekeeping po, I would love to hear your feedback and also if you have something to share and all that or some questions. We will have a Q&A later on po, just so if you have any questions. But our agenda for today would just be two things: reflections and my recommendations for hybrid and face-to-face learning. I will share with everyone my hybrid learning experience, which started towards the end of our school year 2020-2021, and then moving on to our face to face, and then some of those effects of mask mandates, what happened when we loosened the restrictions and all that, including me having COVID towards the end of our school year, this school year. And then, of course, some of my recommendations in terms of instructional strategies, social emotional learning, classroom management, and all that. So hopefully, magkasya lahat yon in 45 minutes to 1 hour. But I would love to hear questions po from all of you, because I know there are a lot of uncertainties right now, especially when we are starting the school year, um, limited face to face or face to face. So we'll start first with our um, reflection, flashback, going back to April 2021. That was actually the first limited face to face instruction that we had in our school. So that was April 2021. So we did have a 2 week transition from distance learning to limited face to face. So we did have professional development for that span of 2 weeks prior to the start. And it was very stressful because there's a lot of information, because you have to start with the health and safety protocols. We had to arrange our classrooms, ilan ang kasya sa classroom. I'll get into that in a bit, and also some classroom requirements, as well as how will the schedule look like. Um, how about those events that students would like to participate on? Meron ba, or it's still virtual? And also, since I'm in a middle school, so our 6 to 8 graders are the ones promoting to high school. So we have those physical promotions, how it looks. I'll just share that quickly. But here's basically some basic classroom requirements that we had to adhere to. So in each classroom, we had about 12 to 15 students per class. So just to give you an idea, in a regular classroom, we have about 30 to 32 students per class. So yun po ang capacity ng classroom. And so we had to cut that down. So we had about 12 to 15 per classroom. Mask is always required, and there, as you can see this sa picture na to, yung nasa right side, that's my classroom. Um, merong sneeze guard, as we call it. So parang divider in between two students. So dalawa lang ang pwede. Normally, apat ang kasya dyan sa table na yan sa classroom ko. But since it was limited space and there's like a 6 foot distance, so yan po yung setup ng mga estudyante. They have their own Chromebook, and whatever Chromebook or laptop they're using, sila lang ang gumagamit niyan. And then we had to defog after they use it and all that. So may defogger every time we go home. Doors and windows are always open, and then our AC is always turned down to at least 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Hindi ko alam kung parang Celsius yan. Pero it's basically a temperature that is not hot, comfortable. Kumbaga. And then also, students stay in their assigned seat. I know sa atin sa Pilipinas, students really stay in their classroom, no? And then teachers are the ones rotating. Dito kasi, yung mga bata ang nagro-rotate, yung teacher nasa isang classroom lang. So we had to flip that around, but instead, the teachers are the ones rotating. So yung mga bata, they stay in that home-based classroom na tinatawag. So dun lang sila most of the time. So yun yung one of the things na part ng health and safety, so that hindi magkahawahan and all that. But that was 2021. And hindi vaccines are, hindi pa ganun as much as possible available for everybody. So we really had to observe those. And then um, what else is there? So yun yung classroom requirements. We had to have temperature checks every time. Not all students, so multiple grade levels of pumapasok sa school. So I'll explain how our logistics are in our school, including the schedule that we put together. So We've decided as a school that there'll be two groups coming into school um, twice a week because we need to fulfill the 250 hours of instruction for students because that's mandated by the Department of Education um, in California. So we pick and choose what are the most important, which is our math, English, science, and history. So Monday and Thursday, Group A or half of the cohorts na nag-elect for limited face-to-face, Monday and Thursday, yung mga Group A ng mga bata, they go on campus. And then they only attend math, English, science, and history. So meron lang 4 periods, no? The other classes, I'll explain to that. It's asynchronous, basically. So yung group B, since hindi sila papasok face to face, sila ang uma-attend sa Zoom. So nasa Zoom sila while yung group A uma-attend on Monday and Thursday. So yun yung setup. So pumapasok pa rin yung half of the group but they are on Zoom. Tuesday, so yan naman yung mga group B, sila naman ang papasok sa school. And then yung group A, sa bahay sila and they will attend the Zoom. So yun yung naging setup namin for the students coming into school um, so that they will still receive the amount of hours for instruction kahit na naka-Zoom yung kalahati ng group ng mga bata na yon. Now, in terms of the electives, yung ibang other subjects like yung non-academic subjects like music or art or we have robotics and we have foreign language. So sila, purely online lang sila. So yun yung naging setup. And the PE as well, since hindi naman pwedeng maglaro pa with each other because of the restrictions at the time. So yung PE, online din. So yun yung naging setup. And on Wednesdays, kaya walang pasok midweek is because we need to defog and all that. So everybody is doing asynchronous work on a Wednesday, as you can see here. All groups. SSR is it's another term for silent reading, pero it's actually homeroom actually. So dun gumagawa ng assignment yung mga bata and then meron silang homeroom advisor to be with them. So yun yung setup namin when we were doing hybrid, no? And here's the schedule of our hybrid learning schedule: Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So we start at 7:40 in the morning. Since we only have 3 grade levels, staggered yung arrival. Sixth grade come at 7:40, and then 7:50 yung mga seventh graders, and then 8 o'clock yung mga eighth graders. So it depends. So para hindi sabay-sabay yung dating ng mga bata. So that's why we had a staggered arrival. And then first 15 minutes of the actual class in the classroom, we do have the morning announcement, yung aming donuts in the morning na tinatawag. So that has been going on since we started distance learning. So we just continued it. So medyo naging challenging sa akin yun kasi before nasa bahay lang and then we do the morning announcement. So I had to be doing the morning announcement sa classroom ko while I have some students around. So yun yung morning announcement. What's up? What are those reminders? The day, what's happening during the day and all that. So mga reminders and all that. So that's yung morning announcement. So parang advisory din siya, but it's addressed to the whole school. And then after that, first period, second. So the periods are basically the classes, depending on what subject that is: math, English, science, and history. So depending on which one is the first, second, third, and fourth. Tapos yung the right side, yung yellow, yung electives, other subjects in short na hindi core subjects, lahat yan online. So yun yung tawag sa periods nila. And then ang uwian was 12:10 to 12:40, which is again staggered dismissal. So 12:40 uwian na. So lahat ng mga bata, including teachers, will go home at the time kasi defogging yung the rest of the day. So by 1:30, we have our asynchronous work. So the students are recommended to use that 30 minutes to work on their unfinished assignment that they did during the day. And then to, after school program, which is tutoring and clubs, lahat yan sa Zoom. So yung mga after school activities, we're done on Zoom. So yun po yung naging hybrid learning schedule namin at the time. No? So nung hybrid learning kami. And then this is the Wednesday. So yung Wednesday is purely asynchronous. So teachers are required to post some work for their students, at least about 15 minutes of, let's say, science, 15 minutes of math, 15 minutes of English, and 15 minutes of history that would fit on those two fields that says asynchronous work time. And then we just gave this for the students so that meron silang structure sa bahay na pagka ganitong oras break time, pagka ganitong oras is this. And then yung SSR, yung silent reading, we actually changed that to SEL lessons, social emotional learning lessons. So meron kaming quick lesson with the students about, you know, self-regulation, zones of regulations, yung mga emotions and all that, just so we can provide mental health support for the students. So yan, dyan pumapasok yung SSR na tinatawag, or homeroom, as we all know it at home. Kasi merong mga labeling na ginagamit sa school, but that is actually what it's for. So 8:30 to 9:20, meron kaming mga parang team building activities with the students kahit na nasa Zoom kaming lahat. So that's basically what that Wednesday is for, because everybody is at home. So that's our schedule in a nutshell. So hopefully hindi ako masyadong detailed, but in terms of classroom instructions, there's not much traditional teaching going on in the classroom because we wanted to limit the circulation of the teachers. Normally, you would circulate, ask the students, go to them, and attend to their needs. Unfortunately, at the time, the strict requirement is that students will just go there, do their work from the computer, get instruction from the teacher. Okay, here's what we're gonna do, and teachers will just assist. But the big challenge when you are giving face-to-face instruction while wearing a mask is hindi ka muffled yung salita mo. And so what happens is I bought a microphone, yung parang may lapel na merong box, and then I just used it kasi ang hirap magsalita when the kids cannot read your lips, no? So that helped out. Another is dahil nga may mga bata sa Zoom while I'm teaching in the classroom, I had to have a Bluetooth earphone para marinig ko yung computer ko when there's someone asking sa Zoom. Kasi naka-log-in din ako sa Zoom, and the students actually can see my instruction because I need to present my screen also. So it's a simultaneous instruction. So yung mga bata sa Zoom, I don't even know if they are paying attention kasi yung iba, hindi naman nila tinitignan kung hindi ko naman tinitignan kasi hati um, yung aking attention. Students in class, and then may mga bata sa Zoom. And when I walk away from my computer, of course, I can't see the students na nasa Zoom. So all I had to do is to listen, and I give students who are on Zoom, if you have any questions, unmute yourself so I can hear you. So yung aking earphone na naka-connect sa Zoom can hear if they have any questions, or if merong nag-raise ng hand or something like that. I had to really physically go to the computer. So it was a challenge when when some students on Zoom are there. Although, of course, usually about 12 to 15 din kasi hati nga 'di ba yung classes. So 12 to 15 ang nasa Zoom, 12 to 15 nasa classroom. So that's basically a challenge for us because hati yung attention mo. And of course, pagka nalaman ng mga bata sa Zoom na, "Ay, wala si Mrs. White sa harapan ng computer," we can do whatever we want. So that was a challenge for us. But at the same time, we have this unspoken rule. Okay, if you do your work, kahit na nasa Zoom ka and it's done, you let me know on the chat, and then you can leave the Zoom. So that's another thing because it's different when you are in front of the teacher face to face and you are on Zoom, no? So I'm sure the feeling is the same. I'm talking here and all that. I'm actively um, talking, but we you guys are just listening, and it's different. So yun yung isa sa mga challenges. Although we were able to adjust, the students were able to adjust, and all that helped us is to constantly check in with the students also. So meron akong um, polls sa Google Classroom na did you do your work? So just to provide them an extra support. Now fast forward sa face to face. So school year 2021 and 2022 that just ended, we are full face to face. A week or 2 weeks before we started this school year, we have health and safety protocols still in place. So indoor mask is still a requirement, but the county of San Diego says that if they are outdoors, the mask is optional. So it's recommended, but it's optional. And we were told na we will resume as usual regular classroom teaching. Although there's contact tracing, we still recommend the students to be socially distanced when together in the classroom. We have a 3 foot distance, so hindi na ganun kalapit. I mean, hindi na ganun kalayo yung bawat isa. So yung two tables na I showed you earlier na dalawa lang ang kasya, we went back to the 4 students per table. So, yun yung kasi nga sabi back to normal na daw. We still have an option to put the space guard, kaya lang when I tried to have that in between the 4 students sa isang table, it's not gonna work out, super sikip. And, my students are 8th graders, so malalaki yung mga bata. We do have temperature checks, in the morning. We offer masks every day out before they go on campus. And of course, we have those symptoms reporting and all that. And if there's someone who's positive with COVID, then they have to have tested first. So yung mga first quarter of the year, kailangan mong kumuha ng testing sa hospital or clinic to get the PCR test. So ngayon, since the restrictions loosened up, the students can turn in an antigen test to check. Pwede ka na bang bumalik? Before it was like whole 10 days. If you don't want to do the PCR test, 10 days, you cannot go to school. So 10 days ka. And then after 10 days, you test again. And if it's negative, then you go back to school. If it's still positive, you have to wait another 5 days and check again. And if it's negative, then you go back. So marami kaming absences that has happened throughout the school year because of that. Yung iba mga bata nagkakahawaan even if everybody's wearing a mask, mainly because of how the students interacted too, no? After they become so comfortable with their space and all that, which is why merong hawaang nangyayari pa rin even if they are wearing a mask. And which is, you know, expected, but it was not very much. If I'm not mistaken, every grade level, since we have 3 grade levels, while we are enforcing the indoor mask requirement, we have probably in a month's time 3 or 4 cases for all the grade levels. So very, very, very low nung strict pa yung mask requirement. So we have 420 students. So that's in a month we only get 2, 3, and most of the time those students contract COVID outside, not not on campus. So it was pretty good until um, this year when we started. Um, we started more and more events are coming in that are like face to face. Like students can now go to fall dances, pwede nang mag-get together and all that. Doon na transitioning activities to face. Diyan na medyo nagiging komportable yung mga bata with each other. They can't keep their hands to themselves. So, medyo, syempre nakaka concern, and we're worried baka mas dumami yung cases and all that. But the biggest I think the biggest hurdles that teachers experienced for this past school year na nag face to face kami was classroom management, no? Because um for the longest time most of these students coming into the classroom, they lost structure. Even if you give, we gave them the structure na ganitong oras, kailangan mong gumawa ng assignment and all that. It's out of our control if they don't follow that at home. So yung unstructured time na nakasanayan nila at home, now they're adjusting face to face with you. Now, suddenly, si teacher, okay, you need to follow this. This is our agenda today. This is what we are going to follow, just like how we structure our lessons. So, yung classroom management, like, how long will it take for the students to stop talking when you give them directions? You will always get interrupted, like several times, probably 5 to 10 times. It depends on the group of students, no? So, isa yan sa mga challenges you have to medyo nakaka-stress at the beginning. Even if you practice the routines and procedures at the beginning of the year, I think yung normal, nung wala pang distance learning, 1 week or 2 weeks, kuha na ng mga bata yung routines, di ba? But unfortunately, because of that one full year or more being on distance learning, parang nabura lahat sa alaala ng mga bata yung routines na natutunan nila when they were um, in class. The last time they were there, um, in their classroom, and suddenly you are implementing. O paano mag-line up, paano pag nagsasalita si teacher, what will you do? How will it look like listening to the teacher? How will it look like if you want to say something to your teacher? So you have to form that again. Kahit na matatanda na yung mga estudyante, we really have to establish that once again. So that's one. Another is of course yung digital content and instruction. So since the students have been experts or they've been using digital content and instructions online, I think that has helped me kind of like not plan as much kasi ando na yung mga digital content, and as at the same time we save paper. So yun yung mga na-realize ko and my reflection as I'm looking back um, when this past school year. So how will I how will I continue and move on for the next school year? So here are some of my recommendations. So far po, meron po bang question? I will address some questions. I think I have one in the chat, but I will just continue on moving forward with my recommendations. So whether you are doing hybrid learning or limited face to face or full on face to face, I think technology must always be available in the classroom. Not because my doctorate degree is going to be educational technology, but I think it has been very effective um, in helping us with our instruction, as well as having the digital content. But I also realized when we got back face to face, meron pa ring mga bata na gusto ng hard copy na nakikita nila physically. Um, so I started printing out a copy kahit na limited numbers lang, just so it's available for the students, because there are some students who wants to have it in their hands. So also, I will talk about this one, like in detail. Equity. Um, we have to recognize that there are some students who still want to opt for distance learning. So meron kaming mga bata, although they're very few, who still opted distance learning because their parents or relatives are immunocompromised, so they don't want to take the risk. So they are still doing distance learning. Um, Hindi na kami nag-Zoom because they're very few, but we did have kind of like a curriculum program that's already um, self-paced. So we still provided that, but the difference is that at the end of the week, the student is checking in with a mentor or a teacher, just so the students still have access to a licensed teacher or instructor. And then lastly is the social emotional learning and mental health. So I'll talk about that um, in detail, but technology is one, so I will not explain that thoroughly. But the difference is that kung meron tayong technology sa classroom like yung projector screen, computer, and all that, students are now used to working on their own. So if your school has a one-to-one computer, yung earphones will help, lalo na kung bibigyan natin ng time yung mga estudyante natin to work on their own and then listen to a video or lesson on their own. That will help in alleviating those like traditional instruction. Marami na mga video lessons that you can use online, that students can follow along, so that you will have more time interacting with them and talk about what they watch on those lectures. So, yun yung flip classroom na tinatawag. So, technology is an important thing. Another is your digital assignments. So, it has helped me manage my time, and at the same time, I'm adjusting too. I'm sure lahat tayo mag-a-adjust as soon as you start your face-to-face. So, in order for me to adjust and to plan out how I can address, let's say, classroom management issues, behavior issues, I've already have formed and planned out those learning platforms that I've used on distance learning, and I I used it again and use those platforms to still continue teaching. And students will use those platforms. Also, collaborating with teachers is another important resource that I realized na, oh my God, meron akong same eighth grade teacher sa kabilang school site namin. So why not collaborate with them? And lastly, yung tests, yung paper and pen test, I made it available online para ready siya online, and then just have the students take it online. So this is just a quick overview of all the learning platforms that I've used consistently throughout the year. Um, Edpuzzle, Nearpod, Edulastic, lahat ng to, ginamit ko siya because it has helped me a whole lot in my instruction to streamline everything and all that. So I could focus on first building relationships with students. Second, for me to get to know my students, because they've been out of the classroom for a while, and I need to make sure that I'm also providing them, guidance on how to be in the classroom. That's basically what will free it up, lalo na kung mahilig tayo mag-check ng ng test paper sa papel, pen and paper. So with all these platforms that can automatically grade your assessments and all that, it actually free us up a little bit of our time, and we can focus on the most important thing: build rapport with our students, uh, build their confidence back up, because that is very important in terms of their learning, because they've lost all those social learning, all those social behavior that they've lost over time. And then equity. So I would, especially for our students who have learning disabilities, or I mean, all of our students in the Philippines are all um, English learners. So we were forgiving with students whose efficiency in um, turning in work, dahil nga for the longest time nasa online sila, so hirap sila maka-catch up. Ideally, in a classroom, alam naman natin na uh, students will have to be at the same pace. But that is not the case for our students with learning disabilities, um, because they needed extra time. Some students may need modified assignments. For us here, and I'm sure sa atin yan sa Pilipinas, meron na din sigurong extra help for students who are special education students who's receiving special education services, no? So we want to make sure that we are equitable and we are providing students the support that they need, such as modified assignments, hard copy available for the students, also multiple modalities to show their mastery. So not just yung pen and paper palagi or yung test lagi, but they can also show their mastery in different ways. So we had that available. The only thing that I might not recommend dahil naging rule sa school, and I think other schools here in California, some other schools, is that if the student don't turn in assignment, meron pa rin silang 50% grade. So halimbawa, hindi nagpasa yung bata ng assignment na 10 out of 10, kahit hindi sila nagpasa, 5 out of 10 pa rin yung makukuha nila, which is very unfair. I'm sure marami sa inyo magsasabi na, wait a minute, wala namang ginawa yung estudyante pero they get 5%. Um, they agreed on that with the state na merong parang buffer para daw kahit papaano yung mga bata, they can still earn points by either attending class and all that because of the pandemic. But that's just for this school year. But for next school year, we'll go back to, like, if you don't turn in an assignment, di zero. Diba? But that is one agreement, I would say, that um, our district implemented, because other districts also implemented, na parang, I don't know how to call it, pero they just don't want the students to feel that wala silang ginawa. By merely attending school and risking their lives, meron silang 5 out of 10, 50% of the grade. Probably that's the reason why. But that's one of the adjustments for our students. And lastly is our social emotional learning and mental health. It's this is the biggest ever, because there's a lot of discipline concerns that we experience throughout the year, um, starting with disruptive behavior, defiance. Um, there are a lot of students who struggled with structured and unstructured time. If you have a structured time, it's always subjected to students, either lashing out on news like stop talking or whatever. Or, I'm sure many of our students back home will not do that. But at the same time, there are students who really are, um, you know, their habits have changed. So we need to be um, planning on how we will address that. Unstructured time, give you an example, if you don't give them structure inside the classroom, most likely may mga magtutulakan dyan, you know, unfortunately, some students will end up fighting and all that. So Um, it para kang police, in short. And so we have to put structures in place. What happens when there's discipline concern, which is why our school actually tightened our policy in terms of putting this positive behavior intervention systems and support. PBIS is basically a evidence-based practices that schools follow in order for us to address those discipline concerns. So merong tier 1, 2, and 3 yan. Tier 1 is for all. So we had to put a school-wide behavior expectations that students have to follow. Period. So at the beginning of the year, we have that um, we call it character traits na kailangang sundin ng mga bata because that's the expectations in terms of behavior na dapat makita mo from the students. So that is for all students and that is a non-negotiable. But I'm pretty sure na meron pa ring mga bata na hindi makakasunod dun sa school-wide behavior expectations and therefore we have the tier 2 which are interventions for those students who are struggling with following the behavior expectations. And for the tier 3, yan yung kailangan na ng intensive interventions such as counseling or our school psychologist assessing their functions of behavior lalo na kung hirap talaga silang maka-follow ng directions to school. So those are the supports that we have available for our students in terms of their mental health and social emotional learning. And going back to what I mentioned about our homeroom, the bulk of our homeroom is always about social emotional learning. So meron kaming every week we have a new theme depending on what issues we are experiencing as a school or at home. What are those needs that our students need focus on, like self-regulation, controlling themselves, learning how to get back on their study habits, or relearning how to be in the classroom, how to socialize, how to, what are those behaviors that are not appropriate and what should it looks like if if you are, let's say, for example, showing that you care and all that. So as 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 simple as it sound na parang automatically dapat ano ng bata yon, no. They need to relearn all of those because those months that students are at home, I don't know what's happening at home, and I think we just have to be mindful that let's assume na maraming nawalang skills sa mga bata, especially in terms of their social emotional needs. So, yun po ang aking recommendations. I will stop here because I think, and I ended with mental health because um, we can't really teach our students if their social emotional learning is not in place and it's not and they don't have that sound mind. So yun po ang isang pinaka biggest recommendation ko. We in fact actually involved our parents with social emotional learning and mental health at the beginning of our school year before we started 2021 and 2022 school year because we want our students to to be successful and have their parents support because believe it or not, our students will be adjusting and they will actually, like look for directions. And kahit na minsan it will cause all the hair to fall and all that, I think being ahead for our students na kailangan we have this in place. I think more than anything, we need to establish that rapport back with our students, lalo na pagka bumalik na tayo sa face-to-face diyan po sa Pilipinas. That said, meron po ba tayong questions? But I do have one from Miss Cruz on the chat. She sent me a direct message. She said, "How efficient is it to have two platforms on Zoom and in class?" Um, well, how efficient? It's not so efficient because your what do you call this? Your attention is actually split. One good thing though, if there's an extra person in the classroom, let's say for which now I remember, meron kaming parang teacher aide with us in that classroom assigned. So merong tumitingin dun sa Zoom just to see if there are questions. Quality will really suffer. Yes, that's the reason why in order for us to be equitable for all our students, yung mga lessons na kunyari traditionally you teach in front of the students, I have it recorded, and then the students are just going to watch on their own on their Chromebook, or if they're in Zoom, then they watch it there. After they watch it, I'll give them a few minutes of that. Usually, yung video lesson will take about 5, not more than 10 minutes, and then after that, we talk about it with the remaining time that we have, and then we do that. And we plan the same. So I think there's a you were to how does assessment vary? Well, the assessment is the same. Really didn't change anything because they're receiving the same instruction anyway. We're planning to do separate classes for online and campus. One quality more than anything. Yes, it is going to be a challenge, lalo na kung we actually thought about planning separately. It's a lot of work if you're gonna plan separately. So you have to think about like pick and choose. Like if I want to be equitable for my students, I will have to deliver about the same. So yung mga video lessons na nakikita natin online, why not use it? If the students have books anyway, kung dyan po is still available, the books are available. I think I think we have to provide similar way of teaching kahit na yung ibang mga bata nasa bahay. Kailangan lang natin ng extra support yung sa mga nasa bahay. I think that's one support that we can add kahit na hindi natin sila nakikita. So we have to check on them more dahil hindi natin sila nakikita. But I would not recommend to do two separate because it's going to be a lot of work for you. So a lot of planning though. So yun lang. But I would not recommend two separate ones dahil makaatakihin kayo sa puso. Any other questions po? I think that's all I have on the chat. But Sir Dari,
Um, Hi,
oh
hi,
yes.
good morning, ma'am.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, good morning. I was the one who asked that question. Mainly because yeah, we are planning for uh what is we have not we are looking at what we call it high flex. What we were
Hi.
doing during the pandemic prior to full face to face. So I'm really I'm thankful that we got to talk to you because I wanted to know your experiences. But it's very difficult to be doing two things at the same time,
Oh
and
yes.
because of certain uh, of course, no, there will be financial implications of having teacher aides for every classroom, and
Yes.
it's not uh, might not be very financially feasible for us right now.
Correct.
So I guess my when I was asking those questions, is how we're going to do the high tech. So we have our Zoom students. Some people call the Zoomies and the Roomies. No,
Yes.
who are in other classes, others in others. So we are really thinking of how we're going to do that. So that's a challenge, I guess, for Dr. Dakanay and the rest of the team. The other thing that I was going to ask is assessment. Also, you were talking about assessment. That's because our board has been asking about this whether obviously there might be some activities that could be now accommodated when they are in the classroom compared to limitations online. While we can do the online activities in the classroom, the in classroom activities, there might be some things that we have more interactive activities. So we're very excited to see the kids in the
Yes.
classroom.
Yes.
So I wanted to know your experience also in terms of that's why the question on assessment kasi po you also may have experience no yung lalo for our grade school may mga parents na nagtutulong may mga parents na gumagawa ng test themselves and the results sometimes have been different.
Yeah.
No, some very not so average students are now honors, and some of
Yes.
our honors are no longer. So those are the things I wanted them to know your experiences about this because the board of our school have been asking about how different assessments would
Would
change,
change.
particularly because some of the students would already be insect.
Yeah. So in terms of assessment, so what we did at the beginning of the year, we do have those testing, especially for math and English, no? So yung parang it's a measure of academic performance. So in math and English, so parang baseline, we want to know where they're at. So at the beginning of the year, I think that was like 2 weeks after the school starts, students took this map test, we call it map test, and we wanted to know what are those skills that they still have. Okay, and then it also it's a standardized test, so we can gauge like what grade level is this student is at, were they able to meet the standards prior year and all that. So yun yung naging parang aid, especially for math and English. Not necessarily for science, because if they have a sound English skills and math skills, I they can do science. So that was our focus. So we looked at our baseline test scores with our students. So yun yung ginawa namin initially. And then from that point, then the English and math teachers started putting instructions that would fit the majority of the kids skill level. And then we do have like for math, um, it's they do Khan Academy, so they have those. It's like a requirement that you have to practice those foundational skills in the Khan Academy, and then for English, we had those platforms. I think they call it Membean. It's basically kind of like a warm up for vocabulary, and then for grammar. There's like no red ink, so they have those platforms that the teachers use to kind of like um, kick the gears of the students, lalo na yung mga bata na lost that learning over distance learning, no? So yun yung mga interventions and strategies that teachers have used for math and English, especially dahil nga hindi natin alam how much they've lost over that period that they were doing distance learning. So yun yung ginawa namin, and then we have another test after 3 months, and then another 3 months. So every 3 months, we were measuring the students' progress. The questions are the same. We just wanted to see if they're progressing. Kasi yung map testing dito, it's kind of like an adaptive test, meaning um, pagka humihirap yung question, ibig sabihin tumataas yung level ng bata. So, I'm not sure if there is such a standardized test sa atin diyan, but that's what the program was designed for, is to determine what grade level the student is at that point. So, teacher teaches for 3 months, and then we check again for progress, and then 3 months check again for progress. So, yun yung naging strategy for our school to constantly check if the students are progressing now that we are back face to face. So yun yung nangyari sa amin for assessment. In terms of like classroom assessments, for example, um, how is it different like sa mga bata sa at home and um, face to face? There's not much of a difference because we still provide, and I'm not sure if yung ating mga test sa atin dyan is all the teachers are using the same, but we have teachers have freedom to create our own assessments for our students as long as the content that we put in the assessment um, is aligned with the curriculum map that we are using. So yun yung parang freedom that we have. For the activities, like the hands-on activities, no hybrid, we for me, since I'm teaching science, I kept it all virtual simulation, virtual labs, because it's not equitable. Bibigyan ko ng hands-on yung mga batang pumapasok sa school and then yung mga nasa Zoom hindi. So it was really a challenge. It's hard, although I could recommend some of the kids, oh, if you want to try it at home, then I give them that opportunity if they have to. But since nung nag-hybrid kami, hindi pa pwedeng mag-share ng mga materials and stuff. So that's why I was not using the labs at the time. But when we started the face-to-face this past school year, um, everybody's on campus anyway. We only have like 4 students na nag-opt for distance learning. So I still provided them virtual labs, but I give them the option, oh, meron tayong actual lab sa classroom. If you want to jump into Zoom, let me know, but they didn't never have taken that time. So you have to offer it, but it's not required for the students who opted for distance learning kasi yung online platform na ginagamit ng distance learning students na nag-opt for distance learning pa din, merong virtual simulation embedded doon sa software na ginagamit nila, which is like, it's a self-paced class for all subject area. So ang tawag dun is Edgenuity, which is, it's kind of like a courseware, bale, ang gamit. Meron lang, since transition from online modality to face-to-face, and you also said the students have lost their learning structure during the pandemic. How can teachers help students cope up with the new normal? Like I mentioned at the beginning of the year, when you guys start, I think the first 2 weeks is the most critical for all of us because we need to establish those routines and procedures that we would normally teach our students, you know. But since 1 year or 2 years halos nawala yung structure na yon, it has a great impact on the students. As if nabura lahat ng mga natutunan nila from kinder hanggang, let's say for example, hanggang 5th grade na nasa classroom since biglang nag-pandemic, no? Maraming bata ang nag-struggle to follow along with the directions. So, kailangan nilang makita, how does it look like? Kung gusto mong magsalita, kailangan mong magtaas ng kamay. Or, how does it look like kung you are talking to another classmate, lalo na kung meron kayong discussion together. So we have to establish that from that very simple instructions. Paano mag-line up kung magla-line up tayo, pupunta tayo sa multipurpose hall, paano mag-line up ulit? We can't assume that they still remember that from 2 years ago kasi it's just super stressful, especially if we don't establish that. So I think more than anything, we have to start first from those basic routines and procedures with our students. You know, and I'm sure kung gumagamit tayo ng textbook, paano gumamit ng textbook? Yung mga ganong mga bagay, it was really what do you call this? A learning experience for us. Paano gumamit ng Chromebook or ng computer, ganyan. How do you take care of the classroom materials, ganyan. So kailangan mong maging explicit. Believe it or not, my students are like 12, 13, 14 years old, but they need that direction. And if you don't, after after the day is done, may sira ng computer. Ganon. Or yung mga pencil na hiniram sa'yo, putol na lahat yon. If you don't say that, please take care of this pencil, put it back where you got where you got it, and then if you don't, forget about it. So what I would recommend is for us to establish those routine more mind, you know, as mindful as possible. Um, before we start like really getting them into the content of what we will teach in the class. Miss Carrie, you're raising your hand.
Uh, yes, ma'am. Sorry, I have one more question.
Yes, no,
I'm running
go
to
for
another
it.
meeting. I need to ask. yeah, I agree. I wanted to say also that yeah, relearning, no, what you were mentioning about lining up and all of that, that is a very actual event that happened to us in school, no, that nobody knew how to line up because they never did. So I think that's very real and very relatable. One last question,
Yes, ma'am.
from me. I asked, you mentioned earlier that you actually had cases still, no? During your classes, wherein some students actually acquired the disease, and there were some infect. I'm not sure if I got it right that there were some infections also. What was the protocol? Because it's very for us. We're already prepared for our guidelines, but I wanted to know how it's done there. Obviously, we have different regulations.
Yeah.
The U.S. will have different regulations than here in the Philippines, but generally, we were thinking of it's going to be very difficult, but we need to make sure that we're ready.
Yes.
That what we do days wherein only the high school students come in, and there will be days that only the grade school students come in, so that we know we can track or trace and maybe confine the contact tracing among those students only affected on the day. But would you is it a process that you actually call off classes for weeks
Um,
and weeks? How is it done there?
no, fortunately, we did not need to close our school because of very low cases. But if there, let's say, for example, a student reported that he or she contracted COVID, so we do contact tracing. So kung saan nakaupo yung bata, in each class, kasi they are roaming around already. They're not confined in one classroom for us. So we had to find out sino yung mga katabi nung bata na nagka-contract ng COVID, and then we have to measure our dean of students, who's also the head of our health and safety protocol, have to measure like sino yung mga close contact, and all those close contacts were contacted by the school that your student is exposed as close contact, blah, blah, blah. So we had to send that message to the parents, and inform them that if your student has symptoms, please check and by antigen test and stuff like that. So I think that's when nag-loosen na talaga yung guidelines for COVID. So nung nag-loosen up na, antigen test pwede na. Prior to that, kailangan mong magpa-PCR test bago makabalik ng classroom yung mga close contact. Tas yung bata na nagkaroon ng COVID, sila kailangan nilang mag-quarantine until they are negative via PCR. Pagka nakitang negative sa PCR, pasok na ulit. So may mga bata talaga na hindi nag-PCR. If they elect not to do PCR, kailangan magstay sila sa bahay for the next 15 days. Ganon karami nung strict pa yung regulations. Nung nag-loosen up, kasi sabi, mask is optional. So nag-start yung aming mask is optional April. Yan, by April. Pwede nang wag nang mag-mask sa classroom. So there are a number of students who remove their mask, including me. Um, and unfortunately, dahil maraming nagtanggal ng mask, diyan na nagkahawahan, including Mrs. White. So,
Oh,
yes. So it really helps actually if you're wearing a mask all the time. So I was sick, and since the regulation is less strict, so I had to test. When I tested positive, I had to wait 5 days to test again, and I'm just using antigen test. If I'm still positive, I have to wait another 5 days. So I was actually gone for the whole entire week because I contracted it and I got positive like Friday, and then the whole week, the following week, I was out, and then in a Monday yan, after that week that I was out, nag-negative na ako, so I was able to come back. So ganun karami yung yung days na mawawala sa'yo, and not to mention, we are actually doing state testing. Here in California and even other states, merong mga end of the year state tests that public schools are required to to administer for their students to see their growth and progress. So, yun yung week na yun na wala ako. So, that's another, and we can't wait to see that results, the standardized testing, because we wanted to know if students were able to, to adjust in terms of the academics. But more than anything, like I mentioned, I think yung mga little things in terms of their routines, social emotional learning, I think yun yung pinaka-fundamental na I wish um, we would have paid close attention to a whole lot para hindi kami stressed, because it was really stressful for all the teachers, because um, ikaw minsan parang sabi, "Oh my God, bakit ganito 'tong batang 'to?" Yung gano'n, may mga gano'ng mga ano minsan masakit sa puso na ilang beses mo nang sinabihan gano'n pa din. Kasi I think, when the guidance from parents, I'm not blaming the parents, but I think there's something at home that had happened during the pandemic that students have been doing over and over and over while they were at home. And it's really hard for them also on their part to adjust dahil suddenly we're back in the classroom, and then si teacher ang daming pinagagawa sa amin. But our content will mean nothing if we are not able to address those basic needs of our students, which is their social emotional health and their mental health also. So, yun
Salamat
po.
po, ma'am.
You're welcome. Yes, Sir Dari.
Thank you very much,
Yes.
Ma'am Sari and Tina White. I have a few questions, Tina White. No? Number one, online distance learning practices. Will it stay or will it stay dyan sa school, no?
Ano, sir, pwede kong i-off yung aking presentation?
Yeah. di ba?
Okay. Sir, you said the distance learning will go away?
No. Will it remain? Will it remain?
Well,
Since
actually,
na
Sir
since
Dari, the Department of Education is saying na schools can opt out for distance learning. Kasi marami ng mga
mm,
bata talaga ang pumapasok face to face, no? So, there are some schools who put up their virtual academy in their districts. Now they are phasing it out. So may mga teacher na madi-displace because
oh,
suddenly there's no more distance learning. In our school, we are 100% already. The kids na nag-opt in distance learning towards the end of the year when the guidance loosened up, they actually came back to school kahit na ilang months na lang yung natitira, and then they came back, and just just to have a feel of the classroom so that by next school year they're ready to to actually go face to face. So that's
no.
basically
The,
what.
the way I see it, Ginang White, no, like mga 1 or 2 years, yung mga practices dyan sa US where they're a bit advanced, no, but the direction of schools here, most likely ganyan yung
I
mangyayari.
I
Like they
think
will be
so.
doing hybrid learning, then eventually ano na, mag-transition na to fully to go back to the normal talaga for most of the Philippine schools here.
I would think
You
so.
also mentioned, White, no, that there is an increased discipline cases
Yes.
in your school because of the structured and unstructured, concerns or guidelines being implemented to students. How was it for the teachers for handling increased discipline cases
I
from
think
students?
for me personally, um, it has not been so helpful to have the other teachers. We meet on a regular basis already, lalo na yung mga estudyante na tinuturuan namin na the same grade level, for example. We are meeting and it's like, how is this student? Parehas ba yan ng ang behavior with you, ganyan. So yung mga teachers get together just so we can find a solution on how we can address that behavior. And believe it or not, we've had parent conference more than ever because we need to address the issue with the parents too. And meron kaming case na isang bata because she was just left alone, neglected, over distance learning. When she came back to school, she doesn't care. She's super frustrating. And there's a time when we met with the student and the parent. It was very difficult to see and to watch the interaction between the parent and the student, because definitely somewhere along the way, while we were in distance learning, something had happened. And so the student really struggled the whole entire year to adjust, because of the fact that there was something that happened. Whatever that is, unfortunately, we don't know, but it, we recognize that more than ever, we needed the parents' support, because yung mga behaviors na yan lumalabas sa classroom, and then other kids will see it. Other kids would, I don't know, gayahin or whatnot. But we need to make our rules firm, and at the same time, we need to also be compassionate too, because we don't know what had happened to those students who, at one point, their parents might not be able to provide the needs that they have, especially in terms of their social emotional learning.
Thank you very much, Gina White. Maybe we can ask some of the teachers as we wrap up our session with Gina White. Anyone else from the teachers would like to affirm or say anything? I guess Mrs. Helen Lopez is about to raise her hand. Um, Ma'am Helen?
Yes, so actually, so I'm interested to also ask a question to Gina White. Magandang umaga po.
Magandang umaga po, Ma'am Helen.
Kami naman po, since you just came from hybrid and then the transition to face-to-face, how do you manage the how do you manage giving equal opportunities for every individual students to participate and comply with the any requirements in any subject, so that they can also be equally credited or fairly evaluated in terms of their performance.
Right.
And how did you do that?
Ma'am, I usually provide po the same material, whichever it is that is available. So, lahat ng bata, they have all access to the online classroom. So, yung lahat ng work nasa online classroom. They can interact with each other sa Google Classroom, so that kahit na yung mga bata na nasa bahay, they still have the chance to talk to the students, yung mga nasa classroom na. So that's one. Another is, I whatever activities. Let's say, for example, it did not happen to me, fortunately, that I'm doing an actual lab with the students that are that face-to-face students, and then meron pa rin akong Zoom students. It did not happen. If that happened to me, na may mga bata ako na nasa Zoom pa rin at this point, and then marami na nasa school, I would still opt to have everybody do a virtual lab. So that's for me, for science. Because no matter what, even if I have it available, like like actual lab, I still feel na unfair dun sa mga bata na nasa bahay, kahit na very few pa rin sila. So which is why I would have them virtual. I mean, in the universities here, or I'm teaching in the university, all of the students are doing virtual labs. And the simulations that is available for labs nowadays are good. Many of the students are really tech savvy, and I would have that available for everyone's access. But if you want to go extra further, what I would do, I will still have the students who are doing face to face the lab opportunity. And yun nga lang, extra work ito is to record yourself so that yung mga nasa bahay mapanood nila kung ano yung ginagawa sa school ng mga bata. So that's just me. I never experienced that because it's very unfair sa mga bata na nasa bahay. But hopefully, eventually, we will have that opportunity. You can provide them other labs that they can do from home also para lang meron silang alternative, lalo na yung mga nasa bahay. They can do that. There are a lot of like home-based lab activities that students can do just so it's available for them. So I think that's the only way we can still provide that opportunity for the students who are at home.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Helen. I guess, you know what, that's it for
Yes.
our engagement today. We would like to thank you for your time. And I know Sabina White is very busy in school, but still, she was able to have
Yes.
rendered her time to us. And I'd like to call Mom Janet. Mom Janet, our school principal, is here. Mom Janet, would like to say anything to Dina White? Mom Janet? Meeting signal. But again, White will show will give you this a little token of our appreciation, in which to share our screen. I'd like to give you this a token of a little token for you, the certificate of
Thank you.
recognition given to you, Carl Lopez White, given on the 22nd of hindi tayo May, June of 2022 for sharing her time and effort as a speaker in the International Workshop of the Patrician Professional Development Program for St. Patrick's School of Quezon City in the Philippines. Signed, Mrs. Janet F. Radapan, our school principal, and yours truly, Dr. Darida Kanay, the Director for Academics. Thank you very much, Green and White, and sana hindi ka magsawa sa pag, pag-yes sa aming invitation. Kaya dito na Green and White si Mrs. Janet Kadapan. From Janet,
Hi, thank you. Good morning.
Good
Thank you,
morning.
Mrs. White. Thank you so much for your time and effort in sharing your knowledge to us.
You're very
Which
welcome po,
it
Ma'am
really
Janet.
helps us, especially we'll be applying the hybrid next school year.
Yes, best
Thank
of
you,
luck po.
ma'am. Thank you, Ma'am White.
Thank you, Sir
Thank you very
Dari. Thank
much.
you so much for inviting me over. Hindi po ako magsasawang um, maging speaker sa St. Patrick's of QC. I'm so happy and honored to be here today with all of you. And please, if you have any questions or you would like a little bit more guidance or PD para sa ating mga teacher friends, I would be very happy to provide that for everyone. And maraming salamat po sa pag-imbita sa akin, Sir Dari, and to all our fellow educators out there.
You know, White, also we have, I think, teachers also from the public schools who are here, teacher Connie and
Hi.
teacher Jeneline, and also one from another school, Professor Gerald Robles, who is with us this morning.
Thank you po. Welcome and marami pong salamat sa pag-attend niyo po sa ating mini webinar today.
Thank you very much. In behalf, again, of Professor Carlo White, of the management and administrators of St. Patrick's School of Quezon City, Philippines, and the teachers, and our friends and guests, would like to thank you for joining us in our webinar for today about sharing of experiences of the blended face-to-face learning. Maraming salamat, Gina
Thank
White.
you.
We'd
It's
like to
my
see you again very
pleasure.
soon.
Thank you. Marami pong salamat.
Can we have a picture all together? Would I request our teachers to switch on their camera? Okay, so